Hi, I'm Ryan Parker. I run Save the Animals, Save the World. I'm a wildlife conservationist, animal behaviourist, animal presenter, safari guide, and animal rescuer. Also, we're talking about human equality, the equality of life, but coming from a conservationist point of view, being out in the wild and traveling the world, having these amazing ventures, I see people from all walks of life. And I get to study that. And conservation, most people think it's just about wildlife and animals. It's actually about humans as well, and people from different cultures. And I do exactly. This is Elvis, by the way. He's one of my rescues. Um, so it's about people from all different walks of life. And when we tackle conservation and people, the problem is people don't ask questions. Especially here in the West, people are very quick to point out, judge people, not just on their cultures, but just how it comes across. And one of the big things for us is poaching. But just to start you off, just because my organisation is called Save the Animals, Save the World, I'm going to show the circle of how connected we are to the natural world. And us affecting the natural world. Yeah, exactly. It's us affecting the natural world and how it comes back and affects us, and then again affecting the natural world, but also social and economic inequalities then affects the natural world. But just to prove how important the natural world and wildlife is to us, and why the organisation is called Save the Animals, Save the World, why I called it that is because if you save animals, you will save the world. So if you take a look at the humpback whale, obviously the humpback whales, a lot of whale species are almost hunted to extinction. Yeah, humpback whales included. And back in the 80s, before I was born, whaling was a huge thing, and then it got outlawed. And there's a few countries will still do it, but populations started to increase, and the humpback whale populations have increased significantly. And then if you look at the humpback whales in the Pacific Ocean of the west coast of the United States, their populations have grown back, and it's really helping the environment. But one humpback whale holds as much carbon as 1,000 trees. Yeah. So everyone says trees are the oxygen of the planet. Kind of down to many trees. The Amazon is the oxygen of the planet. But if you take one humpback whale over its lifetime holds as much carbon as 1,000 trees, then you take a pod of whales, then you take a superpod, and then different populations of humpback whales across the world. That's like a whole rainforest. So humpback whales and other whale species hold so much carbon, and when that body dies, it sinks to the bottom, provides food for a variety of different marine life and for the ecosystem. But that carbon is slowly released and holds that much carbon. So these species are actually helping fight climate, which we are suffering from at this moment in time. And that's little stories like, that's why it's called Save the World, Save the World, that they're helping us. We save those whales. The amount of millions and billions of dollars companies and they say they're spending to help fight climate, and the funding, which most of it it's not. Here in Britain, actually, we have beavers being rewilded into UK after so many hundred years of them being extinct. And the British government was trying to do something with the waterways for something like 10, 15 years, something ridiculous like that, spending something close to £1 billion to do it. And they couldn't figure it out. Beavers came back, and in 1 week, the beavers done it in 1 week, what the British government couldn't figure out how to do and spend all that money on. So if you let nature live its way, it really does make a difference. But in places around the world where there's so much social and not money going into local communities, that they are having to then fight wildlife. One of the problems I face with my colleagues around the world, what we see is human and wildlife conflict. So if you take poaching, so when I ask people about poaching, I go and do talks in colleges and universities or for charities, wherever I do my wildlife presenting, and I say to people, what's your thoughts on poachers? Put your hands up if you think poachers are bad. Everyone's like, yeah, poachers are bad. And I say, like, should we kill poachers? I mean, people say, yeah, we should kill poachers. But I said, okay, you're not in that instance, okay? You're not living there. You're living here in the UK, you live in America, you know, you live in France, Germany, Australia, you know. Yeah, it's horrible. Nobody wants to see an elephant being killed, or a leopard, or a rhino being killed. But when you speak to poachers and you come from a place in the world where you are extremely poor, there's, you know, even though that country may be getting a lot of money, the money's not going into the people. They're having their rights taken away, their land taken away. There's not much opportunities, and then you've got children, and on Monday night, child number one gets to eat, child number two has to starve. And on Tuesday night, it's vice versa. Child number two eats, child number one starves. Wednesday, nobody eats, and Thursday it's vice versa. Or you can't get the correct medicine for your children. You know, things like that. You know, kids get ill. What you will do for money to survive, to feed your children, things like that. It really is. You will kill. Like I don't want anyone, any elephant to die or rhino to die, but you will kill for it. And those poachers, they do not earn a lot of money doing it. They earn little money. It's actually the brokers who actually make more money from it. The ones who actually send the products in Hong Kong, in Europe, in the United States, and South America. They're the ones who benefit from it. And to be a poacher is dangerous. You're going out into the wilderness with a gun. You're getting shot at by anti-poaching patrol teams. They will kill you. And then if you shoot an elephant, I tell you, if you do not kill that elephant straight away, there's a good chance that elephant's going to kill you. Now, if say you do succeed and then you get caught, you can go to prison for life, or you might be let off by a judge. But there is also a possibility, which I do know, because I've spoken to other guides, anti-poachers out in Africa, and because it is quite corrupt and those poachers don't go to prison a lot of the time, they say they will take the poachers, put a gun to the back of their head, shoot them, and push them into the crocodiles. You know, and it's little money, and like I said, the money is going to the brokers and the rich people, and they get rich. You take away one poacher, someone else fills that role. Take away a poacher, someone fills that role, and it goes on, and it's like that all around the world. And then on top of that, you got these animals which are so important to the ecosystem. Elephants are extremely important to the ecosystem. They are keystone species. A keystone species is something you have in place and it affects the whole ecosystem, from bugs to the fish, to birds, to all mammals, and us humans as well. You take away the elephants, the ecosystem starts to fall down. So then that affects everything else, and it affects the humans as well. It affects the soil, it affects the farmers. But if you provide opportunities for those people, so I'm a safari guide, so with a safari guide, you go into a place and you teach these people, look, you can actually make money and a living of these animals being alive and areas being alive with wildlife. If you teach them that, yeah, they're gonna, like, some of our best anti-poachers and best guys are ex-poachers like that all around the world. So if you set up a safari, as you know, ecotourism is be great benefit for conservation and for local people. So if you set up a safari lodge, you know, it provides so many jobs, not just for your safari guides and drivers and anti-poaching, but the person who stamps your passport, the baggage control team, for police, for people working in pharmacies, you know, tourists, you know, I know, tourists get ill, for your dancers in your hotel, chefs, farmers, cleaners, plumbers, construction workers, people who work on the roads, mechanics, masseuses, comedians. Like, a whole infrastructure is created because people are paying money to go and see elephants. And then people are like, oh yeah, we need to keep our elephants alive. We need to keep our lions alive. We need to keep our rhinos alive, because we are basically making money from these animals, and they respect it, and they respect that as well. So that is social equalities, what they do. So, you know, wildlife has a great effect on people, but if we could teach people how to live alongside wildlife, how they can benefit from it. But it takes a lot coming from governments, and a lot of time governments, you know, and not just that, large wildlife charities are very greedy. You know, they're taking money from people, and unfortunately it's not going back into the local people. So me as a safari guide, you're right there, mate. And me as a safari guide, I work with a company in Kenya who is a Kenyan himself. We work with local guides, we work with the tribes, and then we use that money to put back into conservation, and then we want to use the money as well to get the local school children to go out into the wild to see it. But that's the importance of it. You know, conservation affects us humans, affects wildlife, but the money there needs to be an equilibrium of balance. So that's where it comes from, and I'll make you another video soon explaining it again. Thank you for listening.